Hello and welcome to another long-awaited, action-packed car stuff, overdue car stuff video full of car stuff, including things about cars and stuff. Hooray! Yes, I've been wanting to work on cars for a long time. I've been working hard on other things, and so part of my vacation gets to be spent working on cars. So, as you know, or may not know, David is visiting from the UK, and he actually offered to front the cash for piston rings and head gaskets to get this bad man pajama back on the road. So yesterday at 4 p.m. went ahead and picked up the van, brought it back here, started tearing the engine apart, and here we are. So the plan is to disassemble the engine fully, thoroughly clean everything, and address some issues as well as hone those cylinders. And so how we're going to do that is we're actually going to leave the crankshaft and rods in place, and then we will set that particular cylinder to bottom dead center, and then hone that cylinder, pointing the bore like towards the ground, so the cutting oil and everything runs out, and clean it up the best we can, slap a new set of piston rings in it, and yeah, we're not boring it to the next oversize. Typical rebuild like that's only going to last 40 to 65,000 miles, maybe less. Who knows? It's kind of like rolling the dice. That's why I hadn't done it up to this point, but he figured it would be a lot of fun. So here we go. First thing I do is I set up a table. You got to have a place for everything to go. And for me, I have this table. It's had a lot of things disassembled on it. It's old and busted, but it still works really well. I think it's made by Samsonite, actually. Okay, so first things first, we're going to disassemble the front cover by removing the crankshaft pulley, the timing belt covers, which are plastic, and then the timing belt itself. And then I remove the valve covers off of both sides, and then I remove the cam sprockets off of both sides. And the little trick to that you actually see me use is I take a piece of belt and a pair of channel locks, and I wrap it around, and I use the old piece of belt as a strap wrench so I don't hurt the sprocket. And that way I don't have to use a wrench to grab the camshaft, because I don't like twisting that much force on camshafts sometimes. In this particular engine, it's not actually that many foot-pounds, but on some VW engines and stuff, it's actually quite a bit. I do apologize if I sound stuffy. I'm a bit allergic here since I've been gone and now back. So we're about to remove the camshafts, and as you can see, everything is going on the table in a certain order where we hope we don't mix anything up. No, just kidding. Everything's actually labeled really well. You could throw all of this stuff in the same bucket, and everything is pretty much going to go back exactly where it's supposed to. Maybe there's a few bolts in a few different places, but it's the correct, diameter and thread pitch and length and all that. And so now we're ready to remove the cylinder head, and this reveals a lot, actually, the black, ugly mess that lurks within. There was so much carbon buildup on these pistons, and the head gaskets didn't look too bad either. It actually looked like it was potentially reusable. Just kidding. No, we actually got new ones. I use Cometic gaskets, and I have seen people reuse them, and I'm actually going to hang on to them, so just in case in a pinch, should I need some, I have them. I actually am reusing the head bolts, but on this particular engine, that is something you're allowed to do, even though I didn't the very last time I put this thing together. So now it's time to remove the other cylinder head. So once again, the same process, removing the camshafts, which you have to, for those who haven't removed camshafts in a car, there's actually a certain bolt loosening and tightening sequence that you have to follow. And so I follow that loosening sequence, and with a little bit of massaging, the camshafts come right out. Now with the cylinder head, and actually the carbon buildup was very significant on the very top of the head of the piston. The valves had some, but the combustion chamber overall looked okay. Or I should say, like the quench area in the head. The combustion chamber as an overall whole was just gummed up with carbon, but you can tell the burn was good, other than the oil. Ugh. The spark plugs were very sooty, like they had ash deposits on them, and I hope all of this fixes that. So after getting the heads and the oil pan off and everything, it's time to start popping the pistons out. And the way that you pop the pistons out of something like this is you set that particular cylinder at bottom dead center, and then you reach in with a really long pair of needle nose pliers, and you remove the clip that holds the piston pin in. And then you take a rod, or that you use as a drift, you take a drift, and you push the pin out from the other side. And so this is quite an interesting process. The middle cylinder is the trickiest of all because of the distance that you have to reach to access it. And so my solution was a piece of all thread with a nut on it, and that was my quote-unquote drift. And then I bought the longest pair of needle nose pliers from the auto parts store and shaved the backside of the handle on each side so you could actually stick them through the hole in the side of the block far enough to be able to squeeze that wrist pin clip and pull the clip out and then get the piston pin out, or wrist pin out. So after all 6 cylinders were undone, then the cleaning process commenced, and that was another undertaking in its own right because the pistons were well and truly dirty. So now we're pretty much there. The engine goes back on the stand, and the cleaning process begins. Wash, 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 clean, clean, clean. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Anyways, yes, we used both foamy engine cleaner and the gel stuff. So we used 2 different types of engine degreaser, and then I would use brake parts cleaner after washing the degreaser off. You put the degreaser on, you let it set for 15 minutes, you rinse it off with the hose, and you repeat the process until the desired results are reached, brushing in key areas and everything else. The engine sure needed it. A mouse had started to make a little bit of a house in there, and we definitely had to clean that out. And it was mostly road grime. This engine didn't leak too much. The valve covers kind of did, which was interesting because I paid very special attention to torque specs and getting new valve cover gaskets from Subaru and things like that. So I'm definitely going to modify my workflow as far as engine reassembly goes. So now that it's all cleaned up and excuse me, everything's sorted out, we're wiping it down, drying it out, and then the honing process can begin. And when you finally do get around to honing your engine, there's actually 2 different types of hones to consider. Now, normally I actually use the bottle brush type, which is, it kind of looks like a giant pipe cleaner with a bunch of little stone beads at the ends of the bristles of the brush. And these come in a set of different sizes depending on what cylinder you need. But this particular hone is actually a 3-stone hone, and this is kind of a universal size. It goes from a minimum size to a maximum size, and the stones push against the cylinder bores. They're spring-loaded, so they try to expand against the cylinder walls the whole time, and you have different ratings of stones like medium, or I'm sorry, coarse and fine and stuff like that. So going in and out and creating that 45-degree crosshatch pattern is the name of the game. And so I got it all sorted out, and now we got to do all 6 cylinders.
Is it advisable to put water inside the bell housing?
Yeah, because I had you tape everything up, so you're okay now. That's all pieces of clutch.
See, this is how you clean out a clutch. None of that air gun shit. Take a hose straight to it.
I just need to drive it nicer.
You just need a what?
I just need to drive it nicer.
Yeah. That'd help as well. But I mean, it is a fun car to ride, so I can't really. Well, I assume it's a fun car to drive. So I can't really blame you.
It's.
What the?
Oh man.
So I didn't hit myself in the face when I did that, at least.
Oh,
I just wanted the neighborhood.
We didn't get that on camera because it wasn't recording.
No.
When I sprayed myself in the face.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was very well done.
Are there any other parts that I should pre-rent at the same time?
Oh, there's still paint on there still.
Yeah, just. It's under a bit of grime. That'll all come off though, I guess. Most of it.
Alright.
So, okay.
Still debating whether or not I should take this apart here.
I think if you can drive it without taking it apart, it'd be the last thing that we do, or you would need a lot of time to do it.
I'm tired of taking the fucking thing out. I'd really like to not take it out for 40,000 miles.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. Inside Bellhousing?
Of course.
Of course.
That's like the nastiest place. Perhaps we should put it on its side and get the bottom.
Yeah.
Bottom's
Do
gonna
you
be-
want me to lift it, or do you want to lift it?
Yeah, I'll rotate it.
Rotations. Oh, yeah. Okay. You clear?
Yep.
So it was decided that they just not speak, and life could be simpler. I guess is the crux. I think that's good. May as well.
They're all gone.
You know what sucks?
What's that?
When you try to get in the garage and realize the opener's in the car that I fucking took for a month or whatever.
You left it at the car you dropped off at the
You.
dealership?
Uh-huh.
What's wrong with you?
What are you doing?
Well, you had Kara with you.
I
so-
did. I have an excuse.
There
Well,
we go.
yes. In fact, yeah, no, maybe.
Yes.
Yes.
I could be in a blog. Brushy, 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 brushy.
Yeah, let's put this back down to normal, I guess. Or we just want to do one side at a time to work our way around it.
I need a screenshot of this. Gotta be brushy. Ah! That doesn't work.
Did someone new join?
I'm alive.
Is that Suda?
No, it's me.
It's you.
I'm gonna put googly eyes on everything if you can't guess who it is.
I know who the fuck you are. I thought somebody else joined.
I've just been here. I was writing my review for the Belkin router.
Right.
Oh, okay.
This is shitty on the bottom side though.
I'm slightly disappointed with this Belkin router.
Another round.
Another round of that shit. Like it hasn't soaked all the way through. That was. I don't even think I was. How long were we supposed to leave this for?
15 minutes.
Right.
Is that 15 minutes?
I hope so.
You gotta go later.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to waste them.
Brushy, 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 brushy.
Brushy. Brushy. So,
Have you seen a picture of the bat? Being brushy?
I have to run my exhaust 35 miles north for emergency repairs.
What'd you do to your exhaust? Too many beans?
It's been needing repair for a long time.
I want you to find the man suspected of creating egg monsters.
Whoa.
That was really loud.
Maybe it doesn't need painted. I don't know.
It looks black underneath, eh?
Hard to tell.
Might as well. We've got the
It's a
stuff.
fucking mess. That's
As long as we got the time, we've got the stuff. And if we don't paint it here, hell, you've got the stuff to paint it whenever you next take it out.
Oh, it's easy to paint. Just
Clean it up good enough to paint it though.
all right. I think unless I tip it more or something,
Can you slip it onto this?
I can flip it around the other way. Just make the card not move. Okay.
And make the cap not move, just pull this with it. Cap. Well, that shit was on the other side.
Alright, clearly this is going to need a second treatment.
Yeah.
I say fuck it, let's just rinse it.
Well,
And then we'll do another round.
rinse it, see where we missed and do another round.
Yeah.
Alright. Did we do all these vents at least?
I think so. Hopefully.
Just let me make sure I get all the shit out of this thing.
Brushy, 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 brushy.
Like anywhere where you see white foam, I don't think has been done.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise it turns into black.
You. Whoa.
Sorry. Alright, we really gotta go.
Do we?
Yeah, if we're gonna get the exhaust fixed.
Alright.
Alright.
Wash that shit off. In fact, you do need a privilege of washing it off.
Ooh, look at that.
Black, man. So, 9 satisfaction.
Go for it. Maybe. Yeah,
That's not too bad.
it's black under there.
Yeah, totally. We're going to want to chip the paint off, but it's still black.
I think that's what color I'm painting it.
I think it is too.
Oh, the paint's chipping?
Yeah, it's chipping all over the place. There is still paint there. Like it didn't all just fall off. It all fell off the bell housing, and then it painted fair enough.
Nope, never painted Bellhousing.
Just left it all clear.
Yeah.
Alright. Do you want to blast it with the foamy stuff this time?
With the foamy stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we've got another one of the heavy duty ones.
Oh, let's not do that till we get back.
So it doesn't like patina or
Yeah, it may not work if it evaporates and all the shit settles vacuum.
Right.
That's good though. We're getting somewhere.
What the other one is So, Doogie, what are you doing?
Nothing at all.
Well, apart from nothing at all, you know.
I am honing the cylinders.
And what is involved in honing cylinders?
Making a big mess.
He's not wrong. Big mess is totally involved in this scenario. What else is involved? Why is the big mess required?
Well, you gotta get there first of all.
Alright, so this is getting there. That's the rest of the car. The van's outside because it's late. Transmission's just been cleaned. It doesn't look too bad. It's all of the other business. So, we've got there in a wonderful time lapse, I hope. What's involved in the process? You take a hone, you put it in the cylinder, you make some noise, you make sure the chips don't go back up the cylinder.
See, setting my bottom here.
So this one's complete bottom. It's packed to either side with, I guess, this nice blue roll stuff. So that nothing can go further into the engine. And then it's just been kind of flushed and honed with oil. Yay. That about sum it up?
Yep.
Yay! Meanwhile, we have in various states of semi-clean to
Oh, take the camera with you if you want.
nice and crispy with old piston rings to boot. Old knackered crisp piston rings. That's why they're nice and crispy. Do you have anything else for the people? Don't do drugs, kids!
Boy, those things were really glazed. So that's one cylinder down. The process basically works by setting the first, or the cylinder that you're going to work on, to bottom dead center, since the crankshaft and connecting rods are still installed. And then I use a paper towel and I hold the connecting rod center, and the 3-stone hone, the way that it protrudes into the cylinder, it actually spins around the connecting rod that's suspended in the center there. And I have the block leaning slightly downward slope towards me, so any oil, cutting oils, come out and run out of the front of the cylinder versus being splashed up inside. And then I will rinse the inside of the block out the best I can with some brake parts cleaner and pre-lubricate with a little bit of fresh oil before reassembly. Doing all 6 cylinders actually did take a little bit of time. There was a little more glaze to the cylinders than I thought, and there were a couple of places where the skirt had scuffed and there were some vertical lines. And while I wasn't able to hang my fingernail up on them, but I wasn't able to necessarily hone them out either. So this engine is definitely going to need to be bored up to the next size when we come back in here. Actually, my ultimate plan with this is to buy another one of these engines, bore that one up to the next oversize, and do a completely fresh, full factory rebuild, including main bearings and rod bearings, and getting the oiling system nice, poured out the oil pump a little bit, set the bypass to a little bit higher pressure, and just do a few nice things to the engine to make it live a long, happy life. So we got most cylinders done at this point. You can see the rusty color of the connecting rod there where the wrist pin goes, and now reassembly has commenced. So right now I'm actually setting the cylinder I'm working on to bottom dead center, and I put the piston rings on the pistons, and I put them in the piston ring compressor, and then I tap that onto the deck of the block, and then using the handle end of the hammer I very carefully tap the piston into the cylinder bore, and they go right in. They don't hang up. I didn't have any problems with ring hang-ups on this particular engine, and assembly went smoothly. And so you get that piston to the bottom of the bore, and you push the wrist pin in, and you put the wrist pin clip back in, and you repeat the process 5 more times. And it's great that David was able to come out and help me, and that I had an assistant doing this, and I think he had a lot of fun. And you don't get to see this far into the inside of an engine every day, and I'm glad that I was able to get this time lapse and share it with you. So we've done one cylinder bank, and now we're doing the other cylinder bank. Setting up the ring compressor, tap tap tap, good to go. And the fiddly part is lining up the connecting rod, pushing that wrist pin through, and getting everything just right. And so like when you start to push the wrist pin through, the connecting rod would want to push over slightly, and so I had to use a screwdriver to actually hold the connecting rod straight so I could follow through with my pin pushing and get it firmly seated, and then use the long pair of custom cut needle nose pliers to get that clip in. So now that the cylinder block is pretty much finished, we're going to go ahead and get the cylinder heads cleaned. There was a lot of cleaning involved in getting those done. A lot of particular scrubbing involved on the combustion chamber areas, and the fire slots worked out pretty good. I haven't decided if I would do fire slots in another cylinder head yet, but it seemed like it was a good idea so far. And honestly, because it's been burning so much oil, I haven't been able to fully test to see whether or not those fire slots have made a difference. I haven't heard any pinging or knocking or anything like that. I am using I would say it's a fairly aggressive tune, but it's a tune that can change. It's a good tune for varying conditions, so it's still a safe tune is the way to word that. So now that all that's soaking in and putting the cylinder block together, we're well on our way back together. And will it run before David leaves? At this point, we're not sure. He leaves on Monday, and we're just thrashing ass as much as we can to get this thing back together. It actually worked out really well. Normally, I'm uneasy about having an engine swinging from up high like this, but this worked out really well. I actually enjoyed not having to bend over to work on this engine. I felt like it was more productive. But if you do this, just make sure you're really careful.
Do this exhaust valve.
A real shitty one.
Yeah. And I'll rinse that out here in a second.
So cruddy.
That's incredible buildup.
Go back to that.
This is what happens when you burn cases after cases of oil.
What, every 500 miles was it?
3 quarts every.
3 quarts.
This engine has probably burned 100 quarts of oil. At least.
I'm just giving the valves a nice touch up. Just don't need it.
Yeah.
God damn.
Coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's actually working pretty good, too.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I think once we've got the major crud off, we'll let it soak again. And then come back to it with the Brillo.
Okay. Whoa. It's a really bad idea right now.
Other jewelers can talk, but only the paint company delivers superior value, selection, and service. You'll feel the difference in both the shopping experience and our prices. And you'll see the difference in both the style and the article. That's why
This guy clowning around.
What?
This guy clowning around.
This guy.
What's up, Nuggets Nation? This is Emmanuel Moutier, providing you to the Nuggets opening night on Friday, October 30th at Pepsi Center. Get your tickets now at nuggets.com or by calling 303-287-DUNK.
The following was recorded at a Burger King drive-thru at breakfast.
Morning, welcome to Burger King. Let me get a sausage, egg, and cheese for sandwich. Sure, right now it's 2 for $4, but is that how you say that? And for sandwich. Where I'm from, we say, try that.
I gotta. You stretch that hole out. Give me a shot of the back of that. Nice. Doogie, why can I hear Christmas music? It's a bit wonky.
Yeah, hold that center.
I just push this out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. No, use the specialized ones. We can talk about the specialized construction of them. There's your voiceover about the middle pistons being arseholes to get in with this method.
Oh.
It happens. It's performance anxiety.
Turn this way.
Not quite in yet.
I need a little push.
A little love tap.
I forgot to align the other one again.
You did what now? Are we in? Show it for the camera. Put it back for the camera. It's not a bad shot.
It's